Welcome to the Real Retirees of New Jersey, powered by Liberty Financial Group and Artemis Wealth Advisors. Randy and Peggy Fisher want to help you retire once and retire right. Get more information at therealretireesofnewjersey.com. They never throw the first punch, but they're always a knockout.
Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for downloading. But most importantly, thanks for listening. This is the Real Retirees of New Jersey podcast with Peggy and Randy Fisher. It's all powered by Liberty Financial Group and Artemis Wealth Advisors. You can get more when you visit therealretireesofnewjersey.com. You can find that and all the information here in the show notes. My name is Mark Owens. Now, let's get to the show. Peggy Fisher, Randy Fisher. How's this weekend treating you?
This weekend is treating us mighty fine.
Yeah. Doing good. We had a conversation with my daughter who's potentially moving back up here because she's been in Virginia for the past 5 years.
Yes.
And
she left out of the driveway, Mark Owens, and
she ends all the conversations with y'all.
Yeah.
So I said, you're going to have to change your new word to use. Use people in New Jersey.
Or what I actually said to her in the chat was, you will start cursing again. And she's like, no, I will not. And I'm like, yeah, no, you will. Give it like another couple days in Jersey. You'll be back to the...
Cursing is just adjectives. It's adjectives. It's all it is.
It's not an affection.
Yes,
it colors up the conversation.
She's like, I will not talk like that, y'all. I was like, y'all.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we're very excited. We got our daughter back. She's going to vet school at Rowan. She will be the first out of 60.
It's just another bill.
They're only taking 60 to go to vet school there. Yeah.
Just another bill.
I like the yin and the yang. One side is one of 60 to go to vet school. The other one's like, yep, just another.
Back on a payroll.
Is that a good or a bad thing? I know you're excited that she's coming back, but like, is she going to be moving back in with y'all? Or you got to make space in the house? How does that
she's
work?
It's a little far away.
She's just far enough where she cannot move back in, which I would have loved it, but no, just far enough where she can't. Mm-hmm. So, like,
it's a 2-hour drive.
Yeah.
Traffic and everything else both day. Every day you don't want to do that.
No.
But she's closer.
She's closer. I'll be like, hey, what are you doing this weekend?
Yeah,
just a little hour and a half drive.
7 hours to about an hour.
Oh, yeah, I love it. I'm so excited. Randy said they always come back, right? They come back. Yeah.
Do you deal with that a lot in the families you serve? Because you always read these stories of the kids, and I say kids, but, they go away to college, they go to find themselves, and then they move back home. But they're not like moving back home just to readjust and get back out in the real world. They're staying through their 30s. Does that happen a lot?
Yeah, we talk about our one daughter who's married and has come back, but not come back to us. But we have a 23-year-old who has his own business, as Randy says, drives, a Corvette, but is still living at home with mom and dad, reaping the benefits.
He's like moss on the north side of the
tree. Right?
How often do you have to sit down with somebody and say, we know you love your kids, but your kids are digging into your retirement plan?
Oh, you'd be surprised at some of the stories that we have. When you talk about dig in, it's manipulation and almost to the point of fraud, where people are really getting taken from some of their kids or their relatives. It's amazing. As soon as people find out that someone has
got money, oh yeah.
And it usually happens after somebody passes away.
Right.
That's when it usually happens.
Yeah. The life insurance comes in, other things come in, like, oh, someone's got money.
Well, it's also someone is, susceptible to the feelings that are going on there right there, so they could be manipulated
very easily.
And the person who normally passed away was the person who used to control the dough. Right. So now when they don't control the dough anymore and the guard's away from the vault, now all of a sudden, you can go to Aunt Mary or, Aunt Jane and say, hey, you know what?
I really needed that 10 grand for that
Can you lend me that?
Yeah,
lend turns into a lifetime of never paying you back.
Lend has never returned.
We saw it firsthand when my dad passed away. Same thing. He was the patriarch of the family.
Yeah.
He's the one that kind of controlled the estate of like my grandfather, my aunts, his sisters, kind of, what they did, all of their trust and everything when he passed away. And you know what? It sucks too. Like, let's be honest. That's not fun because I had to sit there and watch my aunts that I love growing up, and they're all fighting over like a little piece of land up in the mountains.
And that's what they do. And you know what? It's funny that you bring that up because we do talk about that in planning when people are alive. And they'll say, because they'll say to us,
they'll say,
that's not going to happen. That won't happen in my family. And we tell them.
No, it's going to
happen. Like it really is. It's totally in a conversation. It's definitely a piece of
Not
a plan.
My family.
And they'll say that'll never happen. My kids wouldn't do that, or my sister wouldn't do that. I'm like, no, your sister is definitely.
That's because everybody thinks that their family's not dysfunctional.
Yeah,
everybody's family is so dysfunctional. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
There's no Waltons out there. No. You know what I mean?
All right.
The Waltons may look good on Facebook, but the Waltons, when they really get into the house, it's crazy.
The Brady Bunch, the Waltons, all those families, they don't exist.
No.
Come on.
So, okay, what would you tell somebody? All right, 908-844-8337. Kind of having a discussion about family here this weekend on the Real Retirees of New Jersey. What would you tell somebody listening right now? They know that they've got a kid, a grown adult child that's going to be moving back in the next 6 months or whatever. what would you tell that person to prepare themselves, if you will, so that it doesn't damage all the work they've done to their, retirement portfolio?
Hide.
Yeah, hide your money. No,
change the locks.
Yeah, change the locks. No, if they were talking to us about that, which it is a difficult situation because it's hard too when you're the financial planner sitting across from someone telling them, watch how much you give to your kids. You know, it's kind of that can be a difficult situation. Sometimes we just kind of say what we know from what we've seen before, or hey, we have a suggestion. Not to make it something that
sometimes no's a good answer.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, but sometimes a mom or dad, we see that too, like. The mom may be like the softie or the dad might be the softie. You can read that too across the table very easily on who it is.
I mean, I guess what we're getting at the bottom line is this: we become the bad person.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So we always tell people tell them that you're going to check with your advisor.
And Randy does actually say those exact words. That's what he says.
And the
tell
advisor
them we're checking
will
with
let
the
me
advisor.
know what to do.
Yes, right.
And then we become the bad people.
And that's what he said. Let us become the bad guys. Absolutely.
That way there's no rift between the family because then you're not the person to blame. But then they always get it's your money. You could do whatever you want to do with it. And then I always tell them whatever my advisor tells us to do
is what we
normally stick with that.
Right. That's what we've been doing for many years.
Correct.
We listen to our advisor. Our advisor's been putting us in the right direction.
I'd like to help you, but my advisor told me that I can't do it.
Right.
I can't access the money. I can't get it or whatever it is. And then it kind of goes away or it recircles back 6 months, 8 months later.
And listen, if you have a lot of extra money out there and you feel generous, okay, I can understand that. But for, not all families have that, right? Yeah. So their savings or their retirement or their nest egg that they've been saving for so long that they need in retirement themselves, we have to kind of direct them to say, hey, listen, you've been saving for this your whole entire time. We need to use this, right?
Yeah, but
we
need to use the money that gets hit first is that lazy money.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Right? Yeah. What's lazy money? It's the money that's been sitting around in a savings account, in a checking account, in a CD at the bank, right?
Right.
It's just sitting there. And it's earnings that people have earned that is now just collecting interest.
Right. And not much, right?
Well, we call it the Go Broke Safely Fund.
Exactly. Because you're not really making much in that.
You're not. I mean, think about it this way. Inflation's at what? 3, 4, 5%?
Right.
Let's be honest. It's probably higher than 4.5%. If you're not earning more than 4.5%, then you're going broke.
Yes.
Because eventually your services that you're purchasing, your goods that you're purchasing, you're spending more money on the same damn thing.
Yeah.
Right? So if your lazy money is not working for you,
right,
then guess what? You got to put it to work. But that's the low-hanging fruit that people get picked off
first, right?
Hey, Aunt Mary, you know what? I need, my truck broke down. Can you give me $3,000 to get
I have 20,000
extra air freshener?
Let me give them $3,000. You know what I mean? Yeah.
And then she goes to the cabinet or she goes to the bank account and it's been sitting there forever. And she thinks in her mind, well, it's not really doing anything. I may as well give it to somebody that can use it
while they're. And they'll always say, well, they might as well use it while I'm alive, right?
Right. Yeah, well, it is that's a good approach, but I mean, it's not for everything. And every time you go, you have to go to the well. Yeah. And the issue is once they figure it out once,
too, right?
Once they figure it out once, they come right back
to the well. The well is not dried up yet, right?
It's like that crane that gets over to your pond and eats all your fish. They find it one day, and next thing you know, they're back every day until there's no fish left.
Yeah.
So how many people don't even realize they have lazy money?
Everybody.
Yeah. Give me some more examples of it, because we may not know. Like I can tell you straightforward, I have it. I had it in old 401ks. I had a couple of old 401ks from previous jobs.
Yeah, little
not
things
much,
sitting there.
Not
right.
generational money, not life changing, but it was money that was just sitting there not doing a damn thing.
Right.
That's kind of like limbo money, right? It's not really lazy money because it's potentially money that's growing based off of gain, right? Potential gain. So it's not really getting interest unless you're sitting in a fixed account. That's a different story. But you are correct. It's idle money,
right?
Meaning that you're not actually contributing to it anymore,
but
it's subject to floating up and down on whatever the volume of gain or loss is in that account during the period of time. In other words, ladies and gentlemen, market's going up, your value's going up. Market goes down, your value goes down. Right. If I'm sitting in a fixed account at the bank and the market's going down, my fixed account's not going down. It's still getting interest, right? So, there are a lot of different tools in which you can use. If you don't want to take risk, there are still tools in which you can use where people say, well, I'm not a risk taker. I don't have the stomach for that. I don't want to be in the market. I don't want to lose what I've already gained. Well, guess what? There are interest-bearing accounts out there. Things called structured notes, for instance.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Fixed index annuities,
right? So there's other avenues of possibilities for financial tools in which you can use that will fit your repertoire.
Yeah, index universal life insurance as
well. It's life insurance. Yeah. I mean, I hate to say people invest in life insurance, but if you did it the right way, it's a different story.
Yep.
It's a very fine line between wasting some money and basically making some money.
But the point being is there's just other accounts.
There are other ways.
Yeah, definitely.
There are definitely other ways.
That can make you more money than just sitting in a low interest bank account.
908-844-8337. Again, 908-844-8337. You're talking about what we seem to talk about a lot here on the Real Retirees of New Jersey, an annuity, guaranteed income in retirement.
And it can always be turned into income.
Yes.
Later on, sometime during the future, whatever it may be. But if you need it for discretionary income or you need it to fill a shortfall within your income plan, that's great places because it's guaranteed income streams, right? What is the number one income stream that most people have in retirement these days?
Social Security.
Good old Social Security
Think of
insurance. That's what it's called. Social Security insurance.
Guess what else is basically Social Security insurance? An annuity. It works the same way. You'll get a monthly check.
Forever
For the rest of your life.
Also known as a pension.
Correct.
Right? Pensions are annuities.
Right.
They're lifetime income streams and guarantees for payout.
Yes. And folks out there too, just so you know, there are annuities with no fees, costs, and charges. Don't be always thinking.
Contrary to Fisher Investments.
Exactly, which always says, oh, there's fees. No, there are many, many annuities out there with no fees, costs, and charges, and with beautiful bonuses as well to take your money.
So what does that mean?
Maximize it.
If I earned 3%, I'm kept 3%.
Correct.
I didn't earn 3 and gave back 1.5.
Right,
exactly.
exactly.
So I only earned 1.5, right? Mm-hmm. If I'm in a variable annuity, ladies and gentlemen, variable annuities have fees, costs, charges, mortality expenses, administration fees. I mean, they have lots of different added costs, let's say that, associated with it, as well as the portfolio fees and everything else. That is where annuities get their bad rap.
Right.
Where else do they get a bad rap? Oh, I'm not going to put my money in an annuity because I'll never get it back. You have it forever, right?
You don't have it forever.
You have to leave it there forever and ever and ever. No, you don't.
There are time constraints, but it is not forever. That is correct.
There are some called the return of premium.
Right.
There's others that have cumulative withdrawal features. What does that mean? Well, if I don't take anything out in year 1, in year 2, I can take some out. Right. If I don't take anything out in year 2, I can take cumulative withdrawal, meaning I can take 20% out maybe in year 3, 30% out in year 4. And so on and so forth.
Right. So you can definitely take out your money. It is not locked up totally. That is another big fallacy out there.
What if I take 30% of my IRA out all at one shot?
What's going to happen?
What is?
You're going to be taxed on it.
Taxed. Right?
You're going to be taxed on it.
See, that's the interesting part. Most people their biggest fear is what's never going to happen anyway.
That's right.
Right? So their biggest fear is, hey, I want to have access to 100% of my money. If you have an IRA and you have access to 100% of your money and you take 100% of your money out of it, it's 100% taxable.
Right.
You just helped Uncle Sam, right? No one spends 100% of their money all at one shot. What is the going rate of withdrawal, what they call spend down rate? Normally, it's around 3-4% of an account. Well, if you have access to 10% and you really don't want to spend any more than 3 or 4% of it, and you have access to free withdrawal, that means you have full reign access to the amount of money in which you'd potentially need in that period, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
There are also ways you can time it. So let's say that your anniversary date is May 1st. You're in it for a year or two already. You could take 10% out prior to May 1st. After May 1st, you could take out another 10%. So you can access 20% of it within a very short window.
Right. Yes.
Right. So there are little games that you can play in order to access extra cash right away.
Yeah, give us a call at 908-844-8337 and let us help you with those ways to do that.
The Real Retirees of New Jersey.com.
It sounded like a porn line, not a finance line. Can you say that differently here?
No,
yell that out there.
This is the Real
Retirees of New Jersey. After hours with Delilah.
This is the After Hours Retirement
Thanks for calling.
Radio.
Artemis After Dark.
We're not getting kicked.
Artemis After Dark. I like that. I like that. That's a good one.
It's still PG, right? Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, don't be ass-holes.
See, got to put the pause in there. Got to 90.
Everybody's wondering what that means because they haven't listened to us in a while.
All right, tell the folks what is an ask.
Nope.
Comma,
tell the folks.
They're going to have to call the number. Call the number. You find out what an asshole is.
Randy, you said it. Well, now let's hear it. Go ahead, Randy.
Nervous every time.
I'm not.
You should be nervous.
908-844-8337, therealretireesofnewjersey.com. Hey, take advantage of it this weekend. It's Portfolio X-Ray. Let's talk about the income in your retirement. Let's talk about that lazy money, the money that's just sitting there doing absolutely nothing. Put it to work for you. It's a $2,500 value, but this weekend, no cost, no obligation. You can call right now, 908-844-8337, or if you need to make the phone call, hang up, call back on Monday, Tuesday when you have a little more time. Totally acceptable. affordable, but we invite you to call now. Again, 908-844-8337. I want to go back to something we started with at the beginning of the show about supporting your adult kids. Let's flip it around because your emotions may be a little bit different if you have to support your parents or the older generation. There was a recent survey that shows 1 in 4 adults in their 50s believe that they're going to need financial help from their family as they age. That's not an option for a lot of older Americans. So, what are you telling people now that say, listen, my mom, my dad, my aunt, my uncle, maybe I got an older sibling that needs some help. What do you tell them as they face those challenges in retirement?
Be nice.
Yeah, you better be nice. You want $1, you better be nice.
Be nice or I'm going to put you in the corner.
Yeah. Or you're going in the home. I already have those conversations with my kids now, right? We have 3 kids and we have that conversation now. I always say my oldest daughter, she'd probably like smack me around and be like, come on, Mom, let's get going. My son, the middle one, who I do call the golden boy, I believe that I will be staying with him and he will take care of me. But whenever I ask him to do something, he'll go, you do want me to take care of you, right? Yeah. And then I say back, I'm like, okay, you don't want to do that right now? Okay. You don't have to. But he bribes me. Isn't that something?
No, you're a stupid sucker.
No, he bribes. He's like, don't forget.
That's not a bribe. That's called a threat.
Well, he goes, don't forget who you're living with. He goes, you don't want to live with Allie, do you?
That's not a bribe. Bribe means you're getting something out of it. Yeah, that's a threat.
Well, a little bit of a threat.
But he's my angel. It's okay.
He's my golden boy.
Do no wrong.
Yeah, right. But it's true. We already, we talk about that. You know what I'm saying? Like, God forbid something happens, you know, I don't know if I'd want to be in a home by myself with Randy, like with people who you don't know who are taking care of you. You would want to be with your family, right? Well, I think sometimes you would, but you know, I would. I'd want to be with one of my children as opposed to living in some home with strangers taking care of me. But that's not always an option for some, right? Because not everybody does have that family help. That's another big thing that we do deal with, right?
I mean, you got long-term care, legal matters, housing, legacy planning.
Listen, 25% of families, they say, don't have children. So who do they go to for help, right? We talk about that too. You know, there could be like social isolation, financial difficulties. But if you do have a financial planner or like a healthcare provider who can help you with those things, you definitely can be in the know of things that can help you.
Is that something that you find, Randy, that people procrastinate putting together, especially long-term care? Because people are putting a plan together, they're in their 50, 55, 60. They're like, listen, that's 20 years down the road. I don't want to start thinking about that yet.
Yeah, I think most people actually make reactive planning their staple instead of proactive planning, right? So I talk about that a lot at our workshops and seminars and things like that. We talk about Social Security income.
Yeah.
Give you an example. You know, most people don't realize that there's a death benefit associated, or a death penalty, I should say, associated with Social Security. What does that mean? If you're a couple and you're both collecting Social Security and one of you pass away,
guess what?
One of your Social Security is disappearing.
Right.
Yes, you're going to be able to recollect or continue to collect the larger of the payment. But if it's gone, it's gone, right? So if one of them is getting $1,500 and the other one's getting $3,000, $1,500 a month, $18,000 a year is disappearing from that family's income. Right. Yes, they're going to have less, maybe a little bit less food, a little bit less clothing, a little bit less energy. But just because one person disappears, and there's nothing that can bring them back, no amount of money. But with regard to the expenditures that happen, just because somebody dies doesn't mean your bills go away.
Right. No, they're still there. That's for sure.
So you need to take those things into consideration. What I'm saying to people is you need to be proactive in that planning, because it's not if it's going to happen. It's when it's going to happen. Exactly. Absolutely. Right. And is it going to happen earlier than later, or is it going to happen later than earlier? Right. We live in a 2-person, 3-decade retirement. Most people collect, Social Security payments for more than 20 some odd years right now. And worse is it's about 85% of most people's retirement income, right? Most people rely on that 100%.
Yeah, big time.
That's bad.
Yeah.
That's real bad. There's other things that we can take into consideration, something called means testing right now, where Social Security is everybody realizes this. It's defunct. It's broken, right? The amount of money which goes in and the amount of money that's paid out, the amount of money that's paid out is more than goes in, right? Because we don't have enough people paying into the system right now. Sooner or later, the government's got to either raise taxes, borrow more, which creates more inflation, or fix the system. How do you fix the system? Get more people to pay into it, or change the benefits. If they change the benefits, they take this thing called means testing and say, well, you know what? You did pretty well for yourself. You put away money. You have other income.
Maybe you don't really need it. Right. Maybe you don't need it as much as the other person does.
The means is someone else's means more than yours, even though you paid into the system. They're going to reduce your benefit to pay somebody else, or ultimately take yours away to pay somebody else. What if they just pull the rug out from underneath you? Hey, listen, you pay into the system. The largest paycheck that you can get from Social Security right now is $45,834 a month.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money.
It is. And people count on that.
That's a lot of money.
If you've put into that, you need to get that money back.
Well, people think the word entitled.
Right.
They're entitled to get something back out because they paid into it the entire system.
Correct.
I understand that, and you can have arguments on both sides of the equation. But this is where you get to the people that say, oh, the wealthy don't need Social Security. Yeah. That's the people that they're talking about, ladies and gentlemen. So if you're listening to us and you have assets, but some of your Social Security is included in your income, what if you just wipe out your Social Security payment right now and just give it to your neighbor? Is that going to affect the means in which you actually enjoy your retirement or your ends meet? Absolutely. And Mark, getting back to a long-winded answer, again, it's proactive versus reactive, right? So you can be reactive if someone yanks that out from underneath you during the course of your retirement. Then you're going to say, well, you know what? I was playing golf twice a week. Now I guess I'm going to do Lincoln logs on my kitchen table.
Legos.
I used to like salmon and tuna, but now I'm going to eat carp because I just went to fish for food instead of fish for fun.
That's true, though.
Right?
Yeah, maybe I wasn't working and now I need to go back to Walmart and say, welcome to Walmart. How can I help you?
I was living on my own, but now I got to go live with my kids.
Yeah, there it is. It all comes back to moving back in.
Yeah.
But you like that, huh?
But
full circle. We're going
as you said, though, you just said like, oh, yeah, well, they say the wealthy aren't entitled to it. Well, I don't care how much money I end up making in my lifetime. If I put into Social Security, I want to get it back.
That's correct.
It's my money. I've worked my butt off for it. Well, maybe that makes me a bad person. And look, I want to be charitable and help out as many people as I can. But guess what else I want to look out for? Number one, and that's me.
I get you. I totally understand that. But people say, oh, that can't happen. Really? Just take a look at the tax system.
Yeah.
The amount of money in which you pay into the taxes. Do you, me, or anybody else, do we have any bearance on where those tax dollars go and get spent?
We do not. We figured that out from Doge, haven't we, everybody? We have no idea where our tax money has been going.
Zero.
Yeah.
I think we just crossed 300 billion saved.
Exactly.
It's crazy. But when you think about it, what is Social Security? Social Security is funded by the Social Security Trust Fund, which is 83% of it is funded by payroll taxes.
Exactly.
Right? So it's taxes that are removed from your payment, your paycheck.
Right.
Any employer.
Yes.
It's supposed to be put into a big giant pirate chest to collect some interest.
So you'll have it when you get older.
Plus they add on any of the income from the income tax from Social Security. So 50% of people pay income tax on their Social Security benefits.
Right. That's
about $50 billion that goes in the pot each year. All that said, it's what? Tax money. So if they can spend tax money any way they want to, and they can buy, purple Elmos for people in Iraq, or they can run hamsters on treadmills in Chile to see if they're going to fart out purple jelly beans, they can actually take your money from Social Security system because essentially it's what? Tax dollars. Yeah. So, when everybody thinks it's an astonishment that they can actually redistribute the wealth, the Robin Hood effect from one area to another, all it is basically it's tax dollars being redistributed from people who pay to people who don't.
Did they fart out purple jelly beans?
I think they came out red.
Not totally wasted money. They still
Peggy's shaking her head.
908-844-8337. Again, 908-844-8337. Artemis Wealth Advisors, that's Randy.
I was going to bring up condoms in Iraq, but I didn't think that was going to fly.
So instead you go hamsters farting jelly beans.
Purple.
Liberty Financial Group, that's Peggy. Insurance and annuities. Artemis Wealth Advisors, that's Randy. Stocks, bonds, taxes, financial planning. That's the team, the voices you hear this weekend. That's who you will sit down with to take advantage of the Portfolio X-Ray. It's a $2,500 value, but this weekend it's no cost, no obligation. Again, 908-844-8337. Great conversations about helping your family, finding your lazy money, but at the end of the day, it's always about income in retirement.
We are an independent financial services firm helping individuals create retirement strategies using a variety of financial and insurance products to custom suit their needs and objectives. Investment advisor services offered through Artemis Wealth Advisors, a registered investment advisor. Exposure to ideas and financial vehicles discussed should not be considered investment advice or recommendation to buy or sell any financial vehicle. Past performance is not a guarantee of future results. Investments can fluctuate and when redeemed may be worth more or less than when originally invested. Artemis Wealth Advisors is not affiliated with nor endorsed by the Social Security Administration or any other government agency and does not provide legal or tax advice. Please consult with your attorney, accountant, and or or tax advisor for advice concerning your particular circumstances. Annuity guarantees rely solely on the financial strength and claims paying ability of the issuing insurance company. By contacting us, you may be provided with information about insurance and annuity products offered through Randolph A. Fisher, insurance license number 9616074, and Liberty Financial Group, LLC, and Peggy Fisher, national license number 189-42003 and 570-5833.